So I've been waiting around for this one for a little while. Bottle or the box looks really cool here on the back, on the front, on the back, on the front. Terre d'Hermès Eau Givrée. This is basically taking place of Terre d'Hermès Eau Très Fraîche, which if you have not been following my channel and you might have missed that video, that one's been discontinued. It was being rumored to be, and as soon as it disappeared from everywhere, kind of confirmed it. And it also makes sense because a lot of things have been discontinued and or reformulated due to the increasing restrictions of the IFRA. And I'm sure that Terre d'Hermès Eau Très Fraîche utilized a lot of liliol, which is the component that is kind of wreaking havoc here in the fragrance community. If a lot of things are being discontinued this year, that's probably why. Some things are able to persevere and just be reformulated and continue to be put out, but that wasn't the case with Eau Très Fraîche. So when I saw this one announced, the bottle looked great in pictures, the note breakdown looked good. It just looks like a solid fragrance. So we're gonna go ahead and open this one up and try it for the first time. So first thing I notice here is we do have a cap, okay? That is not really a common thing with the Terre d'Hermès bottles. Normally they have a little thing that twists down and reveals the atomizer and you can spray it that way. So it's kind of cool to see. Also, I noticed that the bottle has a texture to it. Now, it's only on the back, and I don't know how well this is going to come through on camera, but there's the texture on the front and the sides. It is just regular glass. So it just kind of gives it this extra layer of dimension here in terms of how it looks. I don't know. I really dig it. I think it looks great. Very minimal, very simplistic and modern fragrance presentation across the line. All the Terre d'Hermès bottles just look really nice, very classy. This is kind of what you would expect a gentleman's fragrance to look like. It's not loud, it's not gaudy, it's not strong with a whole bunch of bright colors or a kind of an interesting, you know, look to it. It's just very simplistic. Another thing that I'm noticing here on the cap is it has a slight brushed finish to it. This is probably not even going to be close to showing up on camera, but you can just see that it has a little bit of a textured look to it. Just small details all around that really come together and make something that looks pretty cool. Price on this one's a little bit on the higher side, not as high as some other designer releases that are, you know, prices are continuing to go up, but I believe it was $137 for a, I believe this is just 100 mil. Yep, 100 milliliters. 137 bucks. Not terrible. It is only an eau de toilette. A lot of the parfums and the EDPs, oh, I'm sorry, it is an eau de parfum actually. A lot of the parfums and the EDPs are going up in price, but it is an EDP, which is cool. Eau Très Fraîche, I believe, was just an EDT, so that's a plus. I didn't even realize that. Let's go ahead and spray this one on. Great atomizer, and let's see what it's all about. I'm excited. So when you spray it, you know, right away I do get that Terre d'Hermès DNA lingering underneath, but I'm also getting a kind of a similarity to Eau Très Fraîche, which is kind of what we've been talking about a lot here. That one is just a citrusy, bright version of Terre d'Hermès. You know, I think we all have heard what the original is compared to, dirty, earthy orange. It's been said a million times, and to be fair, it's a good way to describe that one. And so with a description like that, you would kind of realize that, hey, maybe that fragrance wouldn't be for everybody. So what was so beautiful about Eau Très Fraîche is that, one, it was a great jumping off point, gave you something to kind of dive in, get a sample of the DNA, and then see if you like it. If you don't like it, then you probably don't want to go any further. But it also just gave you a more summertime appropriate version, right? Something that you could wear in the heat and it would do a bit better. And so that's definitely what this one is going to be striving to be. And even just by looking at the bottle, the name, the note breakdown, you kind of know that going into it. But this just kind of reconfirms, you know, my beliefs here. We'll take a look at the note breakdown. Pretty simplistic. We have citron up top. We have juniper berries and timber in the mid, which appears to be some sort of spice. A spicy, fresh, airy, and slightly salty note that is reminiscent of grapefruit. That's pretty cool. Then in the base we have woodsy notes and mineral notes. So not a whole lot going on. You'll notice there aren't any watery notes or any specific woods like vetiver or anything like that. You know, they have stripped this note breakdown back a bit. Eau Très Fraîche, it had the watery notes, you know, the orange, the citruses, kind of a generalized note there. So it is a different note breakdown. but still similar to that one in a way. What I am noticing that is different about this one is the mineral notes that's kind of coming through here. It gives it this just different smell. And to me, I think what they would be doing here is substituting the watery notes with the mineral notes. If you take a look at some other popular newer releases, one that immediately comes to my mind is Acqua di Gio Profondo 2020 release. It uses the mineral notes to a pretty heavy degree, and you really do smell that. It's kind of hard to describe and it sounds weird, but it smells like oceanic rocks. It really does. It's crazy, it's strange, but when you smell fragrances with that strong mineral note quality, you kind of pick up on that. And that's what this one's doing here. You do get that bitter kind of sour orange smell, even though they're not giving us orange here in the notes. You pick up on it. It's bitter, it's kind of sweet, sour. The citron you do get right off the top immediately. And then again, that kind of spicy note that ties into a reminiscent grapefruit smell is kind of coming through also, giving it a little bit of a peppery quality, a little bit of a grapefruit quality as well. The juniper berries give it a little bit more of an aromatic feel, which is a nice little twist here on this one. I like it a lot. I really, really do. Again, to me, still very similar to Eau Très Fraîche. I really do think that this is just their replacement. You know, they went in and instead of reformulating it and keeping it out, they kind of thought, hey, you know what? We're about ready for a new release anyway. We're about due to put something new out. So they cut it off. They brought it back here, but it is tweaked. I'll get my bottle here somewhere and see about doing a spray side by side. For those of you who are unaware, this is Terre d'Hermès Eau Très Fraîche. This is the cap style that I'm talking about. Yeah, so this one, you know, has more of a bright floral going on off the top, something that you don't get from the new one here. You do get that orange though, all the citrus, kind of the lighter watery feel, but still the woods coming through, that, you know, signature vetiver note. You still get all of that, but again, with the new Eau Givrée here, it's a little bit more smooth, a little bit more tame is kind of how I'm seeing it, you know, comparing the two together. You know, maybe a little bit more focus on woods as well, mostly the vetiver note, that kind of prominent vetiver. But I mean, it still opens up bright, opens up fresh, and it does remind you of Eau Très Fraîche, you know, to a heavy degree, depending on how familiar you are with Eau Très Fraîche. I know a lot of people love Eau Très Fraîche. I've said that a million times, but a lot of people like it. And I know a lot of people were also very upset when it was discontinued. I was as well. But now that I have this new one here and I'm able to smell them side by side, while they're not exactly the same, this Eau Givrée is definitely going to be a great alternative and a great replacement to Eau Très Fraîche. So if that was your signature scent, yeah, it's okay to be upset. I would still be, but don't sweat it too much. You can go into this one here and you might even like it better. You know, as I'm smelling them side by side, I'm getting way more florals in Eau Très Fraîche. And that's something I didn't really pay attention to as much when, you know, it was just out and this one wasn't out. Just, you know, it smelled great, lighter version of Terre d'Hermès. But now that I'm smelling this one, and then smelling Eau Givrée side by side, you could tell that Eau Très Fraîche was very floral heavy. So if you're not a fan of florals, then you might want to jump into Eau Givrée, even if you already have a full bottle of Eau Très Fraîche. You know, I think this one here could really kind of bring some people back into the DNA. If the Eau Très Fraîche version was simply too fresh and floral, and you want kind of a middle ground more so, then this would be a good option. I really like this one. Hint of sweetness as it's drying down. It's really smoothing out a lot. It's calming down. It's an eau de parfum concentration. It's kind of wearing as one. I'll be curious to see the performance on this one. I'm hoping decent. You know, if we could get 7 hours longevity out of it, that would be good for me. That's all I need in a, you know, summer scent like this. Projection will probably be softer, being that it's an EDP, but in the heat, I do think it would open up a lot. Okay, guys, I think that's going to do it for me. That's my first impressions on Terre d'Hermès Eau Givrée. I like it a lot. I really do. you know, it's too soon to make any rash decisions here, or rash judgments, I should say, but it may end up being one that I prefer a lot over the discontinued Otres Fresh. Not complaining, right? It is discontinued. I'm not going to be featuring it anymore. And so the fact that they kind of re-engineered this and brought something new back into the line here to kind of continue that summer section, you know, in the line, I think they did a really good job, and I can't complain. I like it a lot. Let me know if you've tried this one down below, and I will link it down below as well so you can pick one up for yourself. That's going to do it for me. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.